What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be season 4, season premiere of Greenleaf. Let me tell you something. Greenleaf is back, baby. And they gave me everything I needed in this episode, okay? Let's jump into it. So we start this episode off. We are at the New Calvary under the umbrella of Hope and Harmony. And all of the Greenleafs are in the audience for the exception of Grace. Grace is on the pulpit because remember they wanted Grace to take over. Jacob, Clarissa, crazy ass Charity. Charity done lost her mind, y'all. We gonna get there. Mama and Daddy, okay? They are all in the audience. And your boy, Bo Bridges' character, because y'all don't remember that man's name. He comes up and he does his little, oh, it's so great to see you, oh, blah, blah, blah. And honey, he went to go make a comment about the hats in the audience, talking about something. I never seen so many pretty hats in one place. And them women got to looking at each other like, what the hell is wrong with him? Because anybody knows, and I grew up Catholic, but I still know about how our women do it in the church with their hats. Okay. So, y'all know that Mama, oh God, I just had her name in my head. Anyway, I'm gonna get there. She is shooting daggers over to the deaconess that done brought these people in here, honey, and you can tell that this is not a smooth transition and this is not going well. Okay, after service is over, baby, Daddy Greenleaf is ready to go cuss everybody out, okay? He is not happy. He wanted to get them people up out his church. Now, Grace went to go give her sermon, honey. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Let's go back. Grace went to go give her sermon, honey, and they done told her to keep it short, sweet, and to the point, okay? They want them people in and out. They talking about adding a third service, okay? And when service was over, now let's get the service being over. Service was over. Baby, like I said, they had to hold Daddy Greenleaf back from going over there and cussing them folk out and getting up out his church. And Grace said, look, Daddy, we got a plan, okay? Remember what the plan is. The plan is in a year, hopefully these folk will be up out of here. And here's the plan. I'm not even going to prolong that. Remember at the end of last season, they said we got to come up with a plan to get everybody out of here. So here's the plan. The plan is that they're going to make Grace interim pastor for a year. After a year, they'll make her permanent head pastor. Well, that's the plan. And then once they make her permanent head pastor, then she's going to go back to the deacon board and vote them out. In the meantime, the rest of the Greenleafs are supposed to take this year to get back in the good graces of everybody so that when it comes down time for the vote, they going to vote, right? It sounds like a real good plan, but honey, this plan had already fallen apart. So here we go. Now, Lady Mae, she done sat there and told Daddy Greenleaf to keep his cool. Lady Mae marches right on over, and she proceeds to give him everything she got. And y'all know Lady Mae got away with words, so she didn't come right out and cuss nobody out. But it was very clear how she felt. And, of course, Miss Deaconess is sitting right there. I was going to call that woman Grace. She's sitting right there, and she said, look. And she threw it out there talking about something. Y'all will never be in charge of this church again. Not now, not a year from now. So I'm thinking, oh, is she kind of hip to the plan? Because why she throw out a year like that? But okay, all right. But maybe she just kind of see what they doing or see how they moving a little bit. So Grace has a meeting with Paul. Paul is the black guy that's working with Hope and Harmony. And her basic plan was to try to get Jacob and Charity a job, get them to be put in as associate pastors or something, right? Paul said, "You already know that ain't never gonna happen. Your brother barely escaped being indicted, and your sister almost went to jail for kidnapping her own child. That ain't gonna happen. They ain't gonna be nobody's pastor, assistant pastor, or nothing else." And so Lady Mae and Grace, after this little secret that they share about who her real daddy is, they seem to have created a bond that they never really had. It seems like now that burden is sort of off of Mae, she doesn't really throw those daggers at Grace anymore. And Daddy Greenleaf is picking up on that. He like, so we friends now? That's what we doing, and y'all coming against me? And that's not really what it is. I think that Lady May carried that burden for so long, and she subconsciously blamed Grace for her own infidelity. You know what I mean? Like, she was angry that Grace was even in the world, and now that the secret is out and she don't have to hold that burden, I think she's allowing herself to really love Grace the way she probably always loved her. She just couldn't let go. So anyway, that's my psychology minute. Okay, moving on. Of course, Grace has to go back to the family and say, look, no bueno. They said no go. And of course, we had another family showdown. We'll get there. Y'all, I keep moving ahead of myself. Daddy Greenleaf done went to confront the head of Hope and Harmony. And he let him know. He said, look, I know you. I know what you do. I see what you do. And he told the story about a friend of his who was a pastor, had a church somewhere. And Hope and Harmony decided they wanted this man's church. And they hired a private investigator to go and find all his skeletons. And they found one that he had a pill addiction and went to his deacon board, told him the man lost his church and now the man's dead. He said, so I see how you move. He gonna say, that don't sound like us. He said, oh no, I know it's y'all. He said, if for whatever reason y'all done got y'all hooks on Calvary, I don't know what it is that you've been wanting or why y'all want Calvary, but it's something about Calvary and I'm gonna figure out what it is. And then I'm gonna get you up out my church. So they had their little moment. Now back to the dinner table, honey. Before we can get to the dinner table, Clarissa is Clarissa, okay? Clarissa is back to, because, you know, they were doing good, but now Jacob done betrayed her trust. She back living up under May's roof. He ain't the pastor no more. Her whole life has come crashing down, and she is just not happy about it. Excuse me. Somebody's calling, some woman's calling Doris, somebody's calling Jacob, and she's like, who is that? He said, look, it ain't Tasha, stop tripping. She said, well, who is it then? So, you know, we right back where we started. He was like, are you going to keep harping on that? She was like, it was a week ago. And Jacob, I'm on that one, I'm with Clarissa. Like, it was a week ago, boo. I'm going to need you to give me a minute to get over it. How about that? And even though you and Tasha ain't have sex, it ain't because, you know, you stopped anything from happening. And had, you know, Basie not come back to town, who knows how that would have went down. But neither here nor there. Clarissa's just evil and mad, you know, and bitter. And once again blaming Grace for everything wrong that has ever happened. Baby girl is back, but she's still baby girl. I mean, she's still doing what she do, and she like, look, I need to move into that cabin. I need to go move into Noah's cabin. Y'all remember Noah from season 1? Oh, he's back. We're gonna get to that. And Clarissa said no. She said, please, can I just ask Grandma? Because, you know, baby girl thinks she still got away with Grandma. She know Grandma's sweet spot. Clarissa said, go on and ask her. She ain't gonna let you move in there. Baby girl was like, all right. I'm gonna go ask Grandma. So now we get to the dinner table. Look, y'all. Clarissa was drunk. I think Charity might have been drunk. Everybody is blaming Grace for everything that ever happened to them wrong in their life. They like, you didn't push hard enough. You didn't, you know, you could get us a job if you want to. And Charity talking about she don't want to do music anymore. That God is calling her to preach, and she already knows she gonna preach on the sins of the devil, honey. And Jacob, they get going back and forth. I mean, they really sounded like they were 5 years old, bickering back and forth at each other about who was the better preacher, and who was gonna preach, and who this and who that. I mean, they really were going back and forth with each other to the point where Clarissa go tell Grace, you know what? This family has just gone downhill since you came back home. Like, all of this fall on you. Because if you hadn't been here, Mama and Daddy would be happily retired, and Jacob would be running the church, and everything, all would be right in the world. Daddy said, I wouldn't be so sure that that's how that would have worked out. Clarissa said, oh, yes, it would have. I would have made sure it worked out. May was like, oh, really? Oh, that's how you feel. See, she got that little liquor in her, and wine, and she telling all her business. And Grace was like, look, I am not the cause of everybody's strife in this world, okay? And I don't know what it is. I do remember last season that Charity just decided she hated Grace. But I'm going to have to go back and look at last season because the venom that she has in Charity, I thought Ayala fixed her life. Okay? The venom that she has towards towards Grace is just, I don't get it. Like, she hates Grace. And I remember... I do remember some things went down. I remember. But like I said, I really thought Ayanla got her together, y'all. I thought Ayanla fixed some things, but clearly she didn't fix that sister relationship because, honey, she hates Grace. Hates her. So anyway, when it was all over said and done, Grayson got up and walked away from the table. Carissa then got up, walked away from the table. Jacob and Charity then walked off arguing, bickering with each other, and May talked about. She said the disappointment and scandal that this table has witnessed. It's a wonder that it don't just topple over on itself. She got such a way with words. I love Lady May. Okay, even when you hating her, you love her. Now, Paul ain't really feeling all of this. Paul wants Calvary. Okay, and Bo Bridges' character loves him. He loves him. Some Grace, and it's more to that story too. We'll get to that. There's something more with that story too. But Paul is trying to get he really trying to get Calvary. He playing nice and he's saying all the right things and he's smiling in all the right places. But it's more to it's something with that he doesn't really want Grace in there. He really wants Calvary for himself. Now, Grace and Aaron have kept in touch, and they're actually building a really good friendship. And Aaron told her point blank. He said, "Look, you just can't keep running from the truth. Things are different. It is what it is. We done found out, what our relationship is to each other, and we just can't run from it. We really need to just be honest about it. You got to accept everything gonna change. Everything has changed." And Lady May and Grace end up having a conversation after dinner, and Grace tells her, she said, "Ma, I can't hold this lie no more. Like, maybe if I just let Jacob and Carissa and Charity know what's really going on. Like, if we tell them the truth about who my father is, maybe we can just move past some of this stuff." And Lady May made a good point. She said, "This is not the time. The last thing we need is another scandal while we trying to get back in everybody's good graces." She said, "Look, as soon as we get the church back, we can tell everybody whatever we can tell them whatever we want to tell them. But right now, we can't do it." She said, "I need you to hold," and Lady May is right. She said, "I need you to hold on to this. I need you to hold on to this for another until we get this church back." She said, "And then once we get the church back, baby, we good to go. It's good. We got that." And again, it's a valid point. So back up in the Carissa Jacob suite. Now, Carissa told Jacob don't call that woman back that called him. Jacob done called the woman back. He said she was a member over at Calvary, and she's talking about something, "I don't remember him." He was like, "Well, how much time did you spend at Calvary? You was always over at the school." But it seemed like Carissa got plenty of time to be over to the church now. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. So he called the woman back, and what it is the woman wants to try to get Jacob a job with some sports organization that her son plays professional sports for. He needs a life coach, and she's trying to get him hired on with the organization to be his life coach, with the organization to pay for it. Carissa told me, "Well, how much money does it make? Is it enough for us to get our own place? Because I can't do this." She looking at houses on Zillow and everything, honey. So he meets with the team. And the team tells him basically, "Look, we know that we're not a perfect organization and the owners are not perfect men. However, you need to have your name on somebody's letterhead, somebody's stationery, just to bring you some validity. Like, we done read the papers. We know some things went down over there at Calvary. We could probably overlook that if we know, not Calvary. Y'all know where he was before. We could probably overlook that if you were employed somewhere." He said, "Well, hopefully, hopefully I'll be coming on as associate pastor over at the New Hope and Harmony back over at my dad's church, And they said, "Okay, well, look, if you get your name on some stationery, we probably can make this work." So he all excited. He go back and tell Carissa. Carissa ain't feeling it because Carissa was like, whatever, lot that's gonna come down to Gigi getting you a job, and that ain't gonna happen. I said, damn, Carissa is just nasty. She back. The nasty ass Carissa is back. Now over at the at Mama and Daddy's suite, they still living in separate quarters, but Daddy come up in there and Mama, Lady May, you know, she getting undressed and she got on her little bodysuit, honey, looking all cute, and he looking at her like, he ready to sop that up. And she's like, what can I do for you, sir? He said, when can I move back up in here? When we gonna share a bed again? She said, I guess when we get remarried. Now, I didn't even know they were on their way to getting remarried. I thought they were just putting on airs, putting on appearances, but it seems like, he said, well, don't you love me anymore? She said, look, I ain't never stopped loving you. That ain't our issue. She said, but you're going to have to woo me back. She said, I am no longer a naive country girl. I'm a woman who has seen and had it all. So you're going to have to date me. That ain't the word. She used the old word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Court me. I'm sorry. She said, you're going to have to court me and you got to come correct. And he gave her that little grin like, okay, I got you. Got it. So that's going to be cute. I think it's going to be cute seeing him win her back. And she kind of smiling and everything. So they're in a better place. And again, like I said, I didn't know we were there, but I'm glad we are. And you know what else I'm glad? I'm glad we're not going to spend a whole nother season on them fighting. Let's get past it. Let them make up, move on. Okay. Now that night, Gigi is sleeping. She gets a phone call in the middle of the night from a correctional facility by a man by the name of AJ something. I didn't catch the last name, but I listened to it twice. I couldn't catch the last name. But Gigi doesn't accept the call. The next day, baby girl talks grandma into letting her get that cabin. And Lady May did it out of spite because she said, well, did you ask your parents for permission to ask me? Not did you ask them, could you move in? Did you ask them for permission to ask me if you could move in? And she said, yeah, I did, you know. And she kind of looked like, oh, okay. She said, you can move in the cabin on one condition. You start doing our Bible study again. She said, Bible study is at 5 o'clock in the morning. She said, okay, well, I tell you what. One day this church could belong to you and you have to be properly trained. She said, the Lord ain't never going to call me to preach. I said, she probably the most honest person in that damn house. She said, the Lord ain't never calling me to preach. He ain't never calling me to preach. Anyway, but Lady May lets her move into that cabin. And she, like I said, she did it out of spite to get back at Clarissa. But neither here nor there. Gigi's back down to the church, honey. And they trying to pressure her into moving into the office. They said, you know, we got to go ahead. The longer this office is open, the more it gives people the idea that something different could happen. And so Gigi gone and moves on into the office, and she checks her voicemail. Who did she have a message from? Noah. Yeah, I remember Noah from first season. That Noah. Baby. Now, Paul is meeting up with Charity. Charity is pleading her case. Charity crazy as hell, y'all. Charity is pleading her case to Paul. And the whole time she talking to Paul, she hating on Gigi. She talking about how much Gigi hates her and how Gigi's terrible and a horrible sister and all this other stuff. And he's kind of taken aback because my thing is that is probably not the best way for you to get a job when they think you crazy. That's probably not the best way to do it. But basically, Paul, he sees that he can use her hate of Gigi against her. And he said, look, I tell you what, if you could, he don't use the word spy, but basically, if you could spy on your family and share some information with me, then when I become pastor, I'll bring you on as my associate. She said, look, I ain't trying to be minister of music. He said, oh, no. No. We'll find a spot for you. Now, in the meantime and in between time, I'm sure he's going to give her some little empty title or whatever so she could be in the, have a reason to be up in there. But basically, that's what he wants her to do. And she was like, well, I need some time to think about that. Lady May had given Gigi some advice. She said, when you meet with him, because she's going to meet with Bo Bridges again. She said, when you meet with him, you don't ask, you tell. So that's what Gigi did. Gigi was meeting with him and she said, look, at the end of the day, You want me here. You've been hyping me up. You've been telling me how much you want me here, how much that this church needs me. So I need you to hire my brother and my sister, or I'm walking. Like, that's it. And he was like, well, where would you go? She said, what you mean, where would I go? He said, I mean, if I call your bluff, what you gonna do? Gigi was like, whatever. Are you gonna do it or not? Like, if you're gonna hire him or you're not gonna hire him. But please know that I'm ready to walk away. So he gives her half of what she wants. And see, that's what a negotiation is about. She knew she wasn't going to get both of them, but walking away with one of them works. So it went to Jacob, which makes sense because, like Clarissa said, he's at least been the head of a church at one point. He's actually a minister. Clarissa ain't even Charity ain't even no damn minister. But Charity don't see it that way. Charity was like, oh, so why do you still have a job? Because wasn't the ultimatum to hire both of us? So if you're still working there, that means that you just didn't care about me. You got Jacob a job and you didn't care about me. And Gigi was like, look, they told me no to both of y'all. I at least got one of us in there. Like, I only have but so much leverage, Charity. I can only do what I could do. But in Charity's mind, she was like, but you said either hire both of us or you're going to quit. So you still have a job, which means that you were okay with Jacob getting a job, but not me. Honey, Charity cussed, well, she ain't cussed him out, but, she went off on all of them. Her and damn Carissa damn near came to blows and almost had a physical fight. She goes upstairs, ignores the baby. That poor baby. Oh, when she was talking to Paul, she talking about something, I already lost my husband to the gays. I said, what? She's still spinning that sob story. She lost her husband to the gays anyway. But she ends up calling Paul and lets him know, look, I'm in. I ain't fooling with these folk. I'm in. And of course, because Jacob got his name on, he got the job down to Calvary, of course, now he's going to get the job with I think it's the Blue Devils or something like that. Now he's got the job with them. I want to say they say a hockey, but I ain't holding my breath that it was hockey. But neither here nor there. It's a professional sports team down there in Memphis. And so with all that being said, Charity is now the spy. Jacob got his job back. Clarissa is looking at pictures of houses, honey. So they think they good. They good to go. Now, Grace's daughter is leaving. She's leaving for college. And she said she just has to go. Y'all remember baby girl really went through a lot, and with the whole thing with the car accident and everything, baby girl she really been through a lot. So I don't know if she's even going to be on this season, if this was her, goodbye, whatever. But she's leaving for college. That's what they're writing her off as, that she's leaving for college. Now, after all this done went down, honey, Gigi done went back upstairs. She pouring her some wine. Phone ring. Who on the phone? No. Noah said, I've been calling you. She said, I'm sorry, no, I just had a lot going on. I couldn't return your call. He said, well, I got a phone call from an inmate at an Arizona correctional facility, and he said he my child. You his mama, I'm his daddy, and that's my child. And baby, that's where it ended. I said, oh, Gigi. Oh, Gigi, you've been holding the dynamite of secrets. Now, if you go back to season 1, you remember, I'll be honest with you, and I wasn't doing reviews back then, but I'll be honest with you, in season 1, I thought maybe they did have a baby. It was something that was alluded to, or I just got that vibe off of them. And, nobody understood why Grace left town and their relationship ended so abruptly. If I remember all of the details from season 1 with their whole little situation. I'm surprised because I kind of just forgot all about Noah. I didn't forget about him, but I forgot about him. But, baby, that was episode 1. Greenleaf is back with a vengeance, y'all. Let me know what y'all think and drop it in them comments. Peace.